again, my name's Elaine Graver, Manager of Workforce Development, and I'm here to talk to you about Manufacturing Skills Development Program. Really the purpose behind this program was attrition. So Toyota was seeing higher than we wanted to see attrition with our variable workforce. So really what we believe the reason for that is we're seeing an increased number of folks coming in with either low or no manufacturing skills. And then in addition to that, those folks that do have manufacturing skills coming into Toyota, really fast-paced manufacturing, and it was really, I think, overwhelming for folks. So what we wanted to do is put a program together that provided a softer landing, gave them some hands-on experience, kind of eased them into the manufacturing setting. Our partners for the program are Purdue Polytechnic and then Grow Southwest Indiana Workforce. Again, target group, really, this is kind of with the training, is underemployed, unemployed, and then low manufacturing skills. It's broken into two pieces, really, for the, what I'm going to talk mostly about is a 180 team member trial that we did, but in February we moved everyone to really a merge of what this training was. But first 4 weeks, this was a certificate program, mostly classroom, but the classroom was both PowerPoint and then hands-on learning, and what we call fundamental skills, or kind of tool training stations, if you will. And then we did a 6 weeks internship on the floor, basically kind of getting them to start ramping up on the production floor. This is the manufacturing certificate, again, that we partnered with Purdue Polytechnic with. These are some of the things that we had in this first 4 weeks. Again, fundamental skills. We did some offline standardized work, had a door and did some standardized work training associated with that. Work hardening, conditioning, teamwork, Kaizen or problem solving, diversity, TPS, mentoring, and then open forums with leadership, which I think was a very important piece to this. The internship, when we did the 180 team member trial, really we started to ramp them up on the floor, but then we also did some quality circle training, kind of applied some of the things that they learned in the classroom setting. These are some of the program results. Attendance for the folks that went through this training, additional training, was better than the normal onboarding process. And then we had a 50% reduction in attrition. And one of the kind of intangible things that we really saw, we didn't necessarily, I guess, think about going into it, was relationships. So I think maybe the most important thing about the program was the relationships built. So the team members, they built relationships with each other. They had one single trainer that kind of led them through the 4-week training, and then they built relationships with that trainer. And I feel like that is somewhat the key to the program. The team members spoke when we would do a graduation at the end of the 4 weeks, and a lot of them would speak about the family that they felt that they had grown there at Toyota, the additional time we had put into them, and how grateful they were for us spending the time and the onboarding program itself. So again, the hands-on training was good, but again, I feel like the key to the program is the relationships built. You want to add anything, Steve?
The program that Purdue helped put together in this, it's industry built, right? So it's not a Purdue program. I love to tell you that it's a Purdue PhD program and we're the smartest people in the world who made it work. That's not how it works. Okay? So this program here was actually the next level from a program we started with Subaru. You guys know Subaru up in Lafayette, Region 4. So we put about 3,000 people through this program that's similar. What Elaine said is very, very important. Relationship. That's very important. But the other piece that this program does, it gives people discipline. It gives them order. And you wouldn't think you need that, but the labor pool, I'm going to guess down here, is pretty shallow too, just as it is up north, right? So people need to understand what the expectation level is. And that's very important. Joy did an excellent job at that, putting the expectations out there. I think that really helped in the relationship piece and make this thing work.
Thank you very much. And you've got 2 future employees, maybe.
We got their
what they might want to do later on in life, so.
Okay.
I think I will. So back to Perry Central and the programs that they have. School-based enterprises, you guys all heard of those. And this is, again, another model that in more rural areas will work well when we don't have readily available manufacturing right in those places, or maybe it's limited, that the schools can start to develop the business that they have. And I'll let Jody talk about that here in just a second, but works well for then developing other occupations that can help support that school-based enterprise too, and not just manufacturing necessarily. So you want to give us a quick background on what it is you guys are doing with?
We have a program called Commodore Manufacturing. We are the Perry Central Commodores, so that's where that came from. 2 or 3 years ago, we were fortunate enough to receive a grant from CEL, and it was an educational workforce innovation grant, and it allowed us to do some traveling across the United States to see different programs. We ended up in Strum, Wisconsin. They have a program up there called Cardinal Manufacturing. And they were a very small rural school, just like we were, and they were producing, they had their own manufacturing facility within their school. And so we also got to go to Far, Texas. We've been to New York. We've been to all these places to kind of pick and pull ideas, and it allowed us to develop our own Commodore Manufacturing. One of the most important pieces that we had in place, and we're very fortunate, was to have a great relationship with our local industry, with Jasper Engines. Before we started this program, Jasper was coming in. It's very difficult to find teachers that have a lot of experience and can bring manufacturing into the classroom, because teachers just generally do not do that. And if they're really good at those jobs, they're probably going to work for you because they make a lot more money. And so we had a phenomenal teacher. He didn't have a lot of experience, and so Jasper Engines was willing to send someone into our classrooms and was teaching courses for us. They would come in once a week for 6 weeks, doing a lot of hands-on, building relationships. That's a very important piece, and I think that was a piece that was a byproduct. We weren't really looking for that. We were trying to help our students understand the skills and understand the work, but the relationships they built. We've been working really hard in Perry County to change the image of manufacturing, and you know, a lot of times you only hear the negatives, and so by Jasper Engines bringing in an individual, they were getting to see individuals that loved their job, and they would go to work every day and had a good model for that. So basically, we were able to take the strong relationships we had now an idea of what we could do to make the work more authentic, to allow for a lot more engagement. And so we developed our own student-ran manufacturing facility. The 2 students that I have here are part of the leadership team. We produce products, they produce products for Jasper Engines and Wapaka Foundry, and we are out looking for other work as well. Our students get paid. With Jasper Engines, they've come in and done a lot of training with our leadership team. They've taught them how to do cycle times and tack times. They put together a business plan. Jasper Engines wouldn't give them any work until they proved that they had a plan and they knew what they were going to do with that. And so it's taken a lot of time. We've had some bumps in the roads. It's been very up and down, but I think that the main thing is that none of us gave up. And so, and our students every semester get paid. What was your check last semester? They made about $450. We had a student work through the summer. It took us a little bit to figure that piece out, but he had an $800 check this last semester. And so they're doing that during the school day. We have 2 periods right now at the end of the day. Our dream is to have this operating all day long with different sectors. We've now pulled in the marketing classes and the business classes. We are working with Connexus this summer, and they're allowing us to be an internship site, and so they're gonna pay our students $9 an hour. The students right now are interning, all the students that are applying for summer work. The business students are helping them manage that, and so getting some HR experience. And then they're going to be planning the whole training, what the training the students need to go through this summer to be successful. And so it really, the engagement level, they're ready. They know what they want to do after high school now. They want to get into manufacturing. They're going to be leaders in that field, and they're very excited. And one last thing that I really appreciate about the program is it's for everybody. It's for students with learning disabilities, because they can do the work too, and we can teach them those processes so that they can be ready for those jobs that are on the floor, all the way to students that are going to be in four-year degree or higher. The engineering, we're pulling in our engineering department, because all this work, we know that everybody has value, and so we can bring all those different levels in and let them find success there.
That's a kick-butt program, seriously. It really is, and for a small school, again, now they're, as I stated before, and Jody just did it again, they're looking outside of just a manufacturing occupation, so really running a business. And that's, as I got into schools, I asked that all the time. You go into some of the Project Lead the Way courses, where they're teaching engineering, why are they not down with, Mr. Smith's shop class with those people? Back to my comment earlier about theoretical engineers. They should be there. The business people should be there. The CAD design folks ought to be in there. So they start working it more like what these guys are doing. We're going to see some serious results. So how about you talk a little bit about where this kind of started, what it's meant to you, and some of the changes you've seen even to your company?
Perfect. So Jody did a great job of explaining kind of the how I guess it all really got to go. The neat thing about this is, and we've talked about relationships, I think relationships are hard work. This wasn't something that just happened, it didn't fall into our laps, but we had that relationship established. We were going into the classes, what we were doing is sending a subject matter expert and actually teaching. So we had our leadership getting engaged with the youth. We had them going and talking to them. We had them in front of them and sharing their personal experiences. And I would say I taught a class on how to be successful. A lot of that had nothing to do with work. It was all about soft skills, about making good decisions. And as you all know, one of the biggest struggles that we ran into is soft skills. I have people who show for interviews every day wearing a sweatshirt, jeans, and doesn't look like they've showered. And you look at these guys, they are dressed to impress, got their hair done, they got a nice clean shirt on, and that's what it's all about. And unfortunately, a lot of our youth are not taught those skills, and so it's about that, getting in front of them and letting them know, number one, too, is manufacturing is not scary. It's a fun place. We have a good time. Our mission statement is do it right and have fun, and we live that out in everything that we do. And it was fun going through this in the beginning, and these guys will share, I think they were there when they did the business plan. I think I might have shocked them in the beginning because I pushed back on them. And I said, you guys didn't ask any questions about what your customer wanted. You didn't ask any details. You kind of made your own assumptions. And so they're learning skills along the way to ask, to always seek first to understand, to driving continuous improvements in everything that they do. Another really awesome thing that I'll share, one of the processes that we actually brought them in to do, they helped us improve a safety issue with that. So we had somebody that had shoulder surgery, and they've been able to eliminate that part of that position to make it easier. So these guys have amazing ideas, and they're bringing great things to the table. And then the hope is, whenever they decide their career path, they say, you know what, I spent time in manufacturing. I got to see what Jasper does. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of this manufacturing scene. This is exciting. It's growing. There's so many things to do. But there's been countless conversations, countless meetings, countless visits back and forth. And Jody and Perry Central and her staff, it takes a commitment. And we've tried some of this at other schools, but the commitment's not there. They'll say it is, but it takes time. It takes grinding it out. It takes pushing. And so it's finding that right partner. I know some other schools that work with some other industries out there, and if they're not willing to put in the time, send the resources, it's not just sending the person that, well, we don't really know what to do with this person, so we're going to have them go teach a class. Send your good people there. Get them engaged. Get them to communicate with these folks, because this is the future. This is what we've got. And I'm happy about it, because we've got guys like this, and these guys are killing it. They're doing a fantastic job. Manufacturing has been really special. It's something that we didn't know we were gonna get into that path, and we didn't know where it was gonna go, but it's been successful. We continue to look for better ways that we can do it, continuing to improve upon that, looking for more ways that we can make it an engaging experience for these guys, so that it's not just, hey, here's a product, make it for me at a cheap price. It has nothing to do with the money. The money has nothing to do with it. It's about getting skills in these guys' hands so that they're successful down the road. That's what it's all about. I know these guys love the money. But it's not about, from an industry, I've seen too many folks come into this and say, oh man, I bet you're able to get a product cheaper. It's not about that. If you're not doing it and your heart's not there for the right reasons, this is not going to work. It's not going to work. Because we've had big quality issues. We had a big quality concern, had to recall a lot of parts because they weren't installed correctly. That's a pain whenever you're dealing with a contract that had $500 million coming. That's a big risk to take. But we believe in it. On all the products that they make for us, they actually put on their Commodore Manufacturing sticker. I've been out to our facilities in California all over. Who is this? What's this about? We get to share that story. And they get engaged with it. They get excited about it. So it's really cool. So these guys have products in all 50 states, even Alaska and Hawaii right now. And their products are going on the mail trucks you see driving around. So every window that goes up and down in a mail truck, these guys are building it. That's pretty awesome. How many kids can say that? How many kids can say that they've sat and talked with the governor and done things like that? So you talk about all of the extra experience that comes along with a program like this, it's really, really neat.
Kate, you want to add some other things that Jasper did?
Sure. So the Commodore Manufacturing program is a very formal and structured program that we have, and that model may not work for all the employers that are out there. So it looks like it takes a huge commitment from the schools and from the industry partner. And so I just wanted to touch on a few of the other programs that Jasper Engines does, in case this model doesn't necessarily work for your industry. And so I'm going to kind of echo a little bit of what Daryl said earlier, but there's a lot of high school programs that are already built and already running in local high schools. And so we partner with a lot of the local high schools in the Du Bois County area, so I really support a lot of those programs. But there's JAG, there's work-based learning, so the ICE program, there's the professional internships. And so a lot of those programs already have a coordinator who oversees the program, makes sure it's being successful, and then we can be that strong partner to open up internship opportunities for those interns and really highlight career opportunities in the local area. And so I know when I'm out speaking at a lot of the classrooms, I don't just talk about Jasper Engines, but I try to talk about all of the other industry career opportunities that are in the area, so students just are aware and they know what's available in our area. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges high school students feel like they have to leave town or move to a bigger city to find an accounting job or an engineering job and things like that. And we have a lot of that opportunity in our local area. And so the partnerships, like I said, they're coordinated by somebody else, but if we can give our time, and it doesn't take a lot of money, as Daryl said too, to be there, we can really open the eyes of those interns. So whether it's classroom visits, whether it's tours of our facilities, if we can get out in front of the students and let them know what's available, we can really make a difference with them. And so the one thing that, Jasper, we try to do a good job of partnering with those internships. We try to educate the teachers on the different opportunities so they can share that with their students. So we partner with the teacher boot camp. We allow teachers to come in for tours when they bring their students. And the one missing piece, I think, that we still discuss and how do we hit home is with the parents. So they're a big driver in that, and is manufacturing the right job for their kid, and is that the right career choice? And so I think that's one missing piece for us, is how do we really hit home to those parents on manufacturing is a great industry and it's a great career. And so still working on that, but I think the more we can get out in front of the teachers and the students and really educate them on what's available in our area. And like I said, there's a lot of those programs that are already out there. I also had to write down one of Daryl's comments that it is for everybody. And so whether it's a student who wants to go straight to the workforce or a student who wants to go to a four-year college degree program, we have internship opportunities for all of them. Whether it's coming in for a professional internship and job shadowing for a class period, or it's an ICE student who works half days. We've seen success for both of those. Doesn't mean every intern comes back and works for us full-time after those programs, but at least we gave them a valuable experience during their high school that they now can add to their resume, or that they can help make a wider career choice by doing some of those programs.
chasing Taylor here. But before that, do not, as Luke said earlier, your involvement at this level, do not underestimate the difference that you make when you go into a classroom. If that starts with just going in as a guest lecturer, or then you're teaching curriculum maybe at some point in time, or you're just in there hanging out with a lot of these students, it makes a big difference. When we start looking at mentoring, when we start looking at the makeup of today's families, you know, there's oftentimes a lot lacking there. You can help fill that void, certainly, and you'll have teachers tell you, and we've become just like the parents, like the kids don't want to listen to us, but when industry comes in and they say, hey, you know, don't do drugs, because if you do, you're not coming to work for me. They start to listen to those things a little bit more. So again, don't ever underestimate what it is that you do. So these two guys are wonderful for many reasons, but in particular, Carrie, part of her bio was she was a D1 athlete, student athlete. I was as well, and these guys didn't play softball, as you can probably tell, which Carrie did. They were runners, man, long distance run. I ran in both high school and college, and so we kind of hit it off, and that's what makes them really special people, their distance runners. So if you two can kind of talk about what this has meant to you and that industry involvement piece as well, and kind of maybe what's next for you too. Yeah, all right, nervous. You want me to keep talking? I mean, man, I made you guys last. So, you gonna go first? Okay.
So he's talked about a little bit about Commodore Manufacturing. I feel like I'm involved in the program, and I actually feel like I'm important to it. I don't know, Chase, how you feel about it?
This program has taught me a lot. I come from a family that hasn't really gotten too much involved into manufacturing until recently. I come from a farming family, so, kind of getting myself used to this new style of work and how I need to get, I got to learn new things. I got to do all this. And, the Jasper engine, the Market Foundry has taught us a lot about how to do these type of things, how to get our work ethic ready, and how to communicate with each other.
I feel like we've gained a lot of experience from this class, honestly. Like, being able to get up here and talk in front of you guys, getting hands-on experience. I don't know.
We've got that relationship with when business comes in and is talking to you. I mean, there's certain things you're going to learn from curriculum and from teachers, but there's a bit more reality.
Yeah, so actually, back from the business plan, we did it, we kind of got shot down the first time, so we went up there, we talked about packing brake pads, and we were trying to pack 5 brake pad boxes. Does that make any sense? You got 4 bubble wheels and you're trying to pack 5. So it didn't make much sense. And we went in, kind of shot us down. I had somebody that worked there before, and they're like, I can't believe you just shot these kids down. And we're like, well, I know you did that. Is what we said, right? We kind of just got our foot in the door, I'd say, in actual business, stuff that you don't learn in high school, I'd say, especially when I was 9th grade, sophomore. You have anything to add to that?
Has anybody ever tried to wind a string for like a window crank? I mean, it makes your teeth hurt, right? Because if that thing lets loose, it's probably one of your teeth hurting. But talk a little bit about that, how you guys kind of came up with this thing.
So Luke was talking about, we build, they're called window regulators. They're for the LVs, the box struts that you see that carries all the mail around. It's the inside part, so it's the one that so basically, while we're building the process, there's this part of the spring that we're putting it on with pliers, basically. Now, if you look at all those pliers and you accidentally slip out your hand or something, they're going flying across the room. And it actually happened to one of our students while they were trying to train us. So they said, no, we can't do this. You guys, we got to develop something safe. So we developed something where we cover it basically with an arm, we cover the spring so it would not be able to come off. And then instead of using strength, we use leverage. So it's just a bar you put on it, we can wrap it around. So anybody can do it. You don't have to have, you can be any age, you can be any also another part of our job was management. We were having problems with trying to manage everything that we were doing, so Jasper joined us a management board, and we have a board manager. So we basically, every day we go into class, we know what we're doing. We know what we need to work on, maybe new jobs, all the birthdays and stuff that's on there. But training, there's many aspects to go through. Jason will go a little more depth.
Management board has given us an opportunity to organize how we work in our facilities, to keep everyone on task. We also go over safety topics every day to cover, we're kids and, we're dealing with a lot of dangerous stuff and we can get hurt, and so we need to cover the safety and what PPE we need to be wearing every day, and what we see as problems and situations where we need to cover and fix the problems as best as we can. And like on a daily basis, we go over and we assign everyone tasks to do. We have a training matrix, and we go through training on what we need. We mainly cover welding and production floor workers. And then we have stretches. Because Jasper, they do stretches every day, and so we incorporated that to one of our daily things to do, and that keeps us good and also prevents injury.
So there's a lot of skill that goes into our class. Actually, so like Chase mentioned, we've got welding, we've got just production workers, we've got business shipping, and all kinds of stuff like that. So the training matrix kind of helps us know what people can do and what we can cross train them on. That's a big part of it. I think that's the main thing on board. That's it. Is there anything else we need to go over? Thank you.
Just get warmed up, right? Now you're ready to go. So, as you can see, as we get out and talk, there's a lot of people that have opinions of this generation, right? And we've all heard of them, maybe even thought of them. Opportunity to show that, we've got to get them more involved, we've got to give them a chance, and basic exposure is what starts all of that, starts all of those relationships. And I think almost everybody's touched on that word up here, is the relationship piece. And you've got to keep after it at times. But again, back to the new graduation pathways, where before maybe it was a little bit difficult to get the schools to kind of come along at times. They don't have a choice now. I mean, these guys are well ahead of where much of the rest of the state is. But it's certainly no choice in doing that, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that relationship building. You guys want to touch on?
Yeah, I was through a lot here.
Do it.
I was through a lot. This pipeline is great, okay, that the high school kids coming up, that's great. But the pipeline is just building, right? So there's a workforce out there that many of you may or may not know is still out there. I see some of the people out there with hair color similar to mine. There are 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day, right? And as those people leave, there are these gaps. There's people behind them. There are people out there still caught up from the last Great Recession, we might say. Hard to believe it's been 10 years, but there are people still who are underemployed. People with great skills that got frustrated. They don't know that they could get a job in manufacturing and make $18 to $20 an hour to provide for families. That sounds really funny, but it's true. I can tell you that we put through, I said 3,000 people up in Lafayette. I've had at least 50 classes, and of those 50 classes, every time I will have 4 to 5 people with college degrees. Every time go through that for classes. Every time I will have a couple of masters go through this program. And I've had 2 PhDs go through the program. What I'm trying to point out is there's a workforce out there. This workforce is great, that's coming up, we're planning for that. But there are people out there who still need to know that that they're valued, they can learn new skills, and they're wanted. Okay? I'm not trying to preach to you. What I'm trying to tell you is that engaging in the community is important. They need to see what you guys do. They need to see what companies are all about. They need to have the open house of people coming in. But they also need some direction. Okay? They need to understand about critical thinking. We talk a lot about that. It's kind of a buzzword, problem-solving skills, whatever. It's true. People need those sorts of skills. And the program that Toyota's put together and that we learned up at Subaru too is to teach people how to think, not what to think. How to Connexus comes in with a program called Catapult. So Catapult is gonna be kind of a hybrid program what Toyota's doing. So we've launched in Lafayette, we've launched down in Toyota in Princeton, we're gonna launch in Anderson, we're gonna launch in Honda down in Greensburg. So the programs, we must be doing something like we think, of trying to help people understand how to think. It doesn't have to be young people only. This is a great resource for you, a great pipeline. But there are other people out there who still need jobs, who still need to feel valued, and still need to be trained. It's probably way off what Daryl thought it was. But I just want to make sure you know there's that workforce that's out there, whether it's Jim Hackett down in Region 11, or it's the folks up in Region 4, or the folks down in Region 5. You still see these populations out there of people who are probably between 40 and yes 60, who still want to work, who are good people. Don't discount that group of people. Yes, invest in this group, but don't discount that other group that's out there, because we all need good people. And programs like Toyota and these high schools are put together in Jasper, those are good programs. But don't forget that other workforce that's out there. You really need that. And every old dogs learn new tricks, that's the thing. So let's make sure I make that comment, and that's out there. So I started talking.
That'll be a good transition into, when we start on our little guidebooks and work through that, specifically talking about community and everybody that's out there. Anybody else, final comments?
Good question.
So basically, he asked about interests, like, I guess, interests or why.
More so on the side of students. How many of your students in your school are reading specifically on the vocational programs?
I think just about every. So we have a different like health and manufacturing, engineering, all kinds of vocational programs like that. That's your one.
We have, we don't have we are part of a vocational co-op, but travel is a time constraint for us, and so we have pulled a lot more of our programs in-house. And so I would say at least 85% of our students follow a career pathway. They start that their freshman year, and we work really hard to get them to finish that out. And so we are, in this program alone, we have about 40 students in the advanced manufacturing program. But they're from all over because it's in-house and we do a lot of flexible scheduling. Sometimes if you're academic honors or technical honors, we're in early college, high school, so you get your first year of college for free. And so managing all those courses and fitting this stuff in can be difficult. But we do a lot of flexible scheduling, and so it allows all of our students to be embedded into those programs throughout the day. Does that answer your question? Yes, I think, we're getting a lot of interest, especially when you start paying them.
I guess we can talk about this summer, so we're doing an internship, we're going out there and we're actually having a job, like we're working. So we needed 25 employees to come out and work for us, and we got about 32, 35 applicants that we had to interview. So that just shows you the interest actually in the program.
You have a question?
Yeah, so first off, to the principal of Perry Central, I've never heard a principal talk the way you're talking. So that's
I'm a
been,
vocational teacher, I was an ag teacher, so I had that opportunity, I do believe in it, yeah.
when we have more principals talking the way you're talking, the success is going to happen. So that's great. To Toyota Jasper, can you give some more examples of the kinds of programs that you're doing that is, going after the workforce, not the high school kind of stuff, but the other stuff, of how you're finding the people, more about your 4-week program, that was really interesting.
Yeah, for us, I guess a couple programs I could highlight is, I think a lot of people have heard about Toyota's Advanced Manufacturing Technician Program. So it is really out of high school, college program, internship program. They get a 2-year associate degree from Vincent University, and then they go to school 3 days and then work 2 days at Toyota. So what they're learning in school, then they're applying at Toyota that semester. That program really is skilled maintenance related and has been a huge pipeline for us for future workforce. We recruit mostly out of the high schools, seniors going into college, but we do see a lot of, non-traditional students come in as well as, we do pay the students for the 2 days that they work, so if they can, whatever age they are, if they can do it, they can come into that program. Another one we do, and this one is skilled related as well, we kind of started on the skilled piece early on because we had high retirements, so we kind of have more in that area. But we have what we call maintenance now, and it again is a Vincent's University partnership, but we have folks who apply for our skilled jobs at Toyota that can't pass through our testing. So they may have a 2-year degree already and/or, a technical degree and/or they may have, 5, 10 years hands-on experience, but maybe it's just not in the, specific areas we're testing on. So we've partnered with Vincent's University. I think Subaru has a fairly similar program to this, although we didn't know it. Basically, they go through 4 months of training. We hire them through a variable agency. They go through 4 months of pretty extensive maintenance training, if you will, electrical, mechanical, fluid power, and then they do a 2-month internship at the end. Between those 2 pipelines, I really don't have a concern about the skilled workforce anymore. Those are kind of 2 programs we built, put together because of, the workforce as far as skilled workforce out there.
And on the, can I ask a follow-up? And then on the 4-week program, so you're saying that's mostly classroom in the first 4 weeks, where you've got set training?
It is classroom, however, there's hands-on components to that. So they do a lot of hands-on activities with tool training stations and things like that. They work out 2 hours a day, work hardening, aerobics, to get their bodies ready to transition to the manufacturing floor. That's all out in the manufacturing area so they can see it, they can hear it. It helps introduce them so that the shock factor is kind of gone.
So kind of similar to Toyota, we have a CAP, it's a career advancement partnership with Vincent's University in Jasper, and there's 6 employers in Du Bois County, and that really helps build our pipeline for skilled maintenance technicians as well. And so those could be students who are out of high school, or it could be kind of non-traditional students coming back into the workforce or career change. And so that is one of our pipelines to get students into more of a skilled maintenance position. And so those 6 employers partner together, and so we have kind of an agreement amongst ourselves as far as pay and some different performance reviews there, so there's not a lot of competition and job hopping from one company to another. So it's a 2-year program. Those students go to school at VJC 3 days a week, and they work for us 2 days a week as well. So that's one of our pipelines that we have, and a strong partnership with VJC in town. And then for us as well, there's the Vincent's programs, there's Ivy Tech programs as well that we'll partner with. I would say a lot of our training or skilling up will come in-house, and so we apply for the Skill Up grant, and if there's associates that we have working for us that we can send back to classes or send back to training to build our workforce there, we do a lot of that in-house training or utilizing the resources that are in our area as well.
And just to add to that too, not necessarily going out and grabbing people, which we need to do a better job with that. That age range that you had talked about, we need to do a better job with that. But once we get those folks in the door, one of the things that we do, we have our first week of orientation, and that person goes into what we call Jet 101. So it is they've got a classroom out near the shop floor. They spend about, I don't know if it's half the time in the classroom, half the time out on the shop floor. So they'll learn certain skills, then they'll go out and they'll apply them. Even down to learning work instructions and standardized work on making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Using Legos to follow processes, to see if I can follow the process the correct way. Doing games, and anytime we do any of those games inside that classroom, we've got a tap timer, so they have to get used to pushing that tap timer. If they need their instructor to help them out, they have to sound the and on so that they get that help. Again, a lot of those things, people will come to us that have never had the manufacturing background. In our power drive facility, which is transmission, right now we're about 38% And so a lot of people come and they don't know the difference between an impact, a torque wrench, screwdriver. And so we bring some of those folks in and we teach them those skills. And so that's one thing that we really need to do a better job of reaching out and saying anybody can come in. In fact, we love people that don't have any experience because then we don't have to teach, we can overcome some of those bad habits that they have. Because there's a lot of, I'm one of those shade tree mechanics. I think I can fix everything, but I'm probably not fixing it right. That's the person that we usually try to stay away from. We want to teach them the Jasper way of doing things, which is very similar to what Toyota does. The other thing we do is whenever a new associate comes on, we have a BUDS program. So we link them up with somebody that we know is a good communicator, is well established within our organization. Now that new hire is not going into our lunch and break room thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know where to sit, with people sitting there in the seats and I don't want to overstep any boundaries. Now they've got a buddy say, hey, come sit with me. We also have a monthly one-on-one with our division managers and our group leaders so that they get the opportunity to talk through all of our leadership. While those individuals are in that Jet 101 class, every Friday we have new hires come in. I go in and spend about 20 minutes and just sharing my background, my story, kind of ups and downs of my life. And really, a lot of our talk is not about specific job training, it's about we're people. We're all human. We're a Christian organization. We believe in that wholeheartedly, and so we share that with everybody that comes through the door. And I want people to know that we're here to help you out. You're part of our family. We give them a key to our building whenever they come in and say, you're part of this family now. We want you here. We want you engaged. And so that's really how we try and target that next age group and let them know they can be a part of this family. They can be engaged in it as well.
Hey, Luke, can you give a little more about what happened just that first week?
Yes, so after that first week, we're actually now looking to take that the next step. So we've got Jet 101, now it's time for 201, right? We want to continue that. Being in our industry, one of the things that we love to do is whenever you start, it used to be if you came to work for us, you started tearing down engines. You started tearing down transmissions. Yep, it's a dirty job, but you can train quick and you can learn, and you learn so much by tearing down. That's where I started, and so we want now to that be that next step. That person that's been tearing down and doing a position, we want them to then rise up within our organization and not pigeonhole somebody into a certain position. So then 201 will be more in-depth training going forward. And so the key is to continue to have these classes. We also have another section where we do more in-depth with on-the-job training with our gauges, torque wrenches. Folks will come in and we say, hey, you know how to use a micrometer? Yes, they don't know how to use a micrometer. How many people do unless you've actually used one? So we do more in-depth training with that and actually set them up and have bad parts versus good parts. The other thing too, whenever you start to look at the RA finish on a product and how to sand something, that's a feel. Using a feeler gauge, that's a feel. That's not something you just learn from day one. So again, on the job, making it fun. Our trainer, if you would meet her in a setting, you would probably think she is a preschool teacher. I would say because she just has that bubbly personality. She's phenomenal, and she just engages with people. I mean, every class that comes through, she comes out giving hugs and kisses because she loves them. That's her class. But that's what you have to do to get people engaged into your culture. And back to what Daryl was saying earlier, culture is everything. Culture beats strategy every single time. It always will and it always does. Whenever you start to supplement that, that's whenever things start falling through the cracks and you wonder, how did we get here? That's because we just hired a warm body, not a good body to put our culture.
Did you say that it was 3% of your schools doing this, or 3? Did you say something about that? About how many kids have you got in the program? Oh, okay. Is that 3%?
Went to 3 right. I was able to send 3% of my student population on to the career center. So I was graduating about 1,000 students each year at Noblesville, and we were able to send about 3% of our junior and senior class on to get that training. So that was just identifying that we needed to do something a little bit different in order, as Jody was talking about, having something different to offer programming to more students.
So how many kids are actually doing it from their central?
Doing with the Commodore Manufacturing. We're running about 15 students through Commodore Manufacturing, but there's an intro to manufacturing course, and so the last couple of years, we've been running 30 to 35, 40 students through the program.
Right now, for Jasper Engines, are you going to be able to accommodate another school if another school is interested in this?
That's a great question. We've actually tried with multiple other schools, but we don't have an amazing engagement like we do with Barry. And that's what it is. You know, we've had to go back there and say, hey, we're struggling with this person or that thing, and they've worked with us. Jody's amazing to where she puts her foot down and she wants it done, she gets it done, which is awesome. Whenever we've worked with some of the other educators, we don't have that engagement. They want us to come in and do everything, but we're only there for a certain amount of time and then we step away. The teacher has to be engaged. They've got to be the right person. They have to truly care about what they're doing. Be willing to come to our facility and work through and understand our culture and why we're doing the things we're doing. So if we had it our way, we'd be in every school in our county and then outside that. And we've tried. It takes true relationship and both sides really working at it because it's not something that just happens.
Now, I know South Spencer, they don't have a program like that, but they're pretty well engaged in, their tech side of it. So, and I know, I'm sure that they've been educated about this program, I know they have. But, you know, I'm starting to question maybe if they don't know the next steps to go to maybe do something like this, so.
They're welcome to come and talk to us. We don't ever say that we have everything right, because we learn something new every day and learn something from every school. That we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of schools come through and see the program. But we're happy to share anything that we've been doing and try to help.
They've been a great partner, so that's, you know, our office is another resource for that. So if people, again, trying to make those connections, we can certainly do that. Jody's been great to let us, you know, kind of move people through there or talk to them about that program as well. So, yes, sir.
Jody, you mentioned flexible scheduling. Can you explain that a little bit, what that means, and how that impacts the Commodore Manufacturing?
Yeah, we try to do a lot. Basically, these programs are important, so we're going to try to move everything else around that. We utilize online classes. We're a small school, and so if you know anything about scheduling, we call them singletons. So there's only second period every day you can get U.S. government. Well, you can also take government online, and so and you can do that anytime during the day. So we have certain courses that we kind of advertise as, you know, or look to the online system to allow for that flexibility. We partner with Ivy Tech, and some of our students take classes at night, either down at the campus at Tell City, or right now we're offering a speech class at night, every Wednesday night, and the students come to our school. We try to look at how can some of our students have accelerated, and so we let them move through their math and English at a faster pace, and so that opens up more sections at the end of their high school career for their internships. So we just try to never, whatever the problem is, we feel like there's always a way through it or around it, and we never try to let that stop us. So some of the students do take summer courses online as well. So it just allows for that flexibility in their schedule.
That's outstanding. I didn't know any high school was doing anything like that. You've taken the class the day way beyond.
Right. We've had to really rethink time, place, and space. That's kind of our motto.
So the school corporation is going to make that shift. Is that the school board that's making those decisions? I mean,
No, we're fortunate to have a central office, a superintendent, assistant superintendent that really believe in this. And so they allow for these things to happen. And because if we were working somewhere else and they didn't see, they were very black and white, because things tend to be black and white, it probably would not work. But
so that change could be driven just from the superintendent, principal.
I think so.
They can either help drive that change or they can be barriers. And all around the country, it's the same thing. So many events that I've gone to and either participated in or spoke at, you start talking to manufacturers that, again, small to large, they all within their communities will say oftentimes if there's a barrier there, it exists at the superintendent level. Because again, they're sometimes pressed to get everybody ready to go to Harvard. You know, some of them really think that. And those are some of the kind of the barriers that are put up then to helping things like this and these relationships actually develop. So typically they're going to be your first stop. So whether it's individual or more importantly, as a group of companies together going and talking to them about change, that's what it works. Other times I've had to go around the other way, and I start with the teachers and build sir. One more question. Yeah.
Just for a reference point, you said you're very students involved, so what's the total?
We are, for grades 9 through 12, about 330 students. So, yeah.
Any others real quick? Moving on to the next thing. Thank you.
Sorry. So I know Marcia's here from Junior Achievement. I know they've gotten a few hits today already, but for you companies that are here and you want to get people involved with the schools, one of the best ways to do that is Junior Achievement. If a company could set up a company coordinator or a volunteer coordinator and get with her, so anytime they've got classes available, I know that there's certain times a year where they say, hey, we've got this many spring classes, this many fall classes available. It's a fantastic way to get people into the school, and then you start to get to know the teachers, you start to get to know the students. You'll figure out which teachers are engaged, the ones that you go into the class and they're there and they're present and they help you teach, and the ones that go their own way. It helps you start those relationships with the teachers, because if you can get a good teacher that is loving on the kids and wants to be a part of it, you can turn anything into magic. I mean, you really can. So Junior Achievement's a great way to get your organization in with the school.